We're approaching a crossroads. Hey guys, Rorius here. I felt like I needed to make this video because I needed to talk about things again. I realized I haven't done like a vloggy face-to-camera video in 6 months. The last one we did was the State of Rorius video that I talked about life and things that are coming. Please forgive the many jump cuts that there are going to be in this video because I feel like I need to make sure that what I'm saying is accurate to what's happening. I want to give myself the space to say things and then think, no, that's not quite right, and then say the right thing, instead of just trying to stream of consciousness say everything all at once. As I said, the State of Rorius came out about almost right on 6 months ago, maybe a little over 6 months ago. It's about time I return to that topic, because, as I said at the start of this video, we're at a crossroads. I mentioned in the State of Rorius that the end of this year was potentially a deadline of sorts, a kill switch, if you will, to determine whether or not I can continue doing YouTube the way I'm doing it. And what I'll say is that in the last week or two, a whole bunch of things have been coming out of the woodworks all at once. A whole bunch of life paths, a whole bunch of cards of life have been coming out of the woodworks all at once. It has to be said, my original concern in the State of Rorius video was that my mother's going to be retiring soon. And at the time, it really seemed like she planned to retire at the end of this year, although the way she's been talking recently, it does sound like she's going to do at least another year of her job. So, potentially, that kill switch could be moved to the end of next year. But, at the same time, 4 or 5 different things, different life things have come in all at once. Opportunities that might not present themselves next year. We'll see, we'll see. I feel like I felt like I've hit like a juncture point in my life that it's going to be difficult. I'm still not sure which way I have to, or which way I will end up leaping. So I'm using a lot of crossed metaphors. What I mean to say is, we're at a crossroads. How else do I put it? At the moment, I either stay my course, convince my mom to not retire, stay at her job, and I can stay my course for another year, and potentially try and pick up some of the opportunity things that have happened recently if the channel doesn't become my full-time thing. Or I can jump at the opportunities now, but then that would mean giving up what I have. And I'm sure, I hope most of you wouldn't want that. Because I know there's most of my being is like rejecting that premise, rejecting that idea that I would ever do that. The problem I'm facing is that until I talked about the cards of life, I think of that as being like the choices, the options. The problem is several of those cards that I talked about have not yet landed. They're currently in the air waiting to land, and until they do, I can't make a decision. I can't make a choice. I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the year. One of those cards is the YouTube card. The card that is, you know, I'm able to make enough money to sustain myself. Therefore, I'm able to continue doing YouTube full-time and make something of it and continue down that YouTube future. Until that card lands, that option isn't, that option is in limbo. Another option is I've been proposed becoming a first-year teacher, essentially. Becoming a trainee teacher. And that card is like potentially a one-off. I don't know if that card will still exist next year, for instance. But that card is the whole of next year I spend basically just shadowing a teacher and getting paid for it, which is awesome. And then at the end of that year, I would be a teacher. which is like, that's not a normal process. Normally when you become a teacher, you do some kind of degree in some field, and then you follow that up with a degree in teaching or education. You go to teacher's college, and then after a year, at least a year, it used to be 3 years, but seemingly it's a year now. A year at teacher's college means that you can then be put into schools and start actually earning money. So the way that I'd be doing it would be like shortcutting the system, and I'd be earning money straight away. Which is like, you know, that's a plus. That's a huge plus. If I did that, there's not too many responsibilities, so under that context, under that option, like, I was thinking about it, I might still be able to stream every day. Like, I might still be able to do a stream, like a 2-hour stream every day. The problem is that 2-hour stream would likely be at a vastly different time to the current streams. Likely at the lower end of peak times. So, like, most of the people that I know and would join me in streams probably wouldn't be able to join me, because it would either be midnight or some ridiculously early time in the morning. So, if I was to do that, I'd essentially be targeting a completely different audience than the one that I'm currently targeting. Not ideal. And then there's the final option of getting a job, of applying for jobs in my field. But that's one of those cards that I'm not really even considering too much. Sorry, I just got interrupted by another part-time job that I'm doing. Because I mentioned, some people asked me about, like, I mentioned that my part-time job that I usually have, it only goes from like February through to seemingly September, and then the gap between that, I don't get, there's no work, so there's no pay. So I've applied for another, like, very short-term job over October. Is it October or November? I think it's both. Actually, it might be November specifically. So in November, no, yeah, it's definitely November. Over November, I'll be having more part-time work so I can get some more money. But that's a very temporary thing. It's very much just for the month of November. So, money stuff for the immediate future is probably okay. Not great, but okay. That being said, like, my part-time job just covers the most basic of essentials. Essentially, my part-time job funds my YouTube channel. Because part-time job money, and actually your guys' donations, it has to be said, you guys donating to the channel have been really cool recently, because I've been getting, like, the YouTube checks way more frequently than I ever had before. And those like decent checks, each time they come through, they often just save me in a pinch, because I'll be looking to buy some new game that's just come out for the channel, you know, so I can play it on the channel, and those checks just, like, cover the cost. Those YouTube, Google ad revenue plus your donation checks really help. There is some amount of ad revenue, but it mostly comes from you guys' donations, so you guys have been helping me a lot, it has to be said. But yeah, currently the part-time job that I have really just covers the costs of doing YouTube, essentially. As most of you probably already know, I live with my parents, because there's no way I could afford to live doing YouTube currently, the way it is, and pay rent and food and all that. So that's why I mentioned my mum retiring is a really big deal, because my dad is already retired. So essentially all three of us are living off of my mum's salary. Which is, she makes a decent amount of money, but, you know, if she retires, that money's gonna disappear. So therefore, I have to fucking pull my weight. As heavy as I am, I have to pull my weight and make a fucking living for myself. Otherwise, I'm on my ass and out on the street. Sort of thing. My parents would never kick me out, but it would be an incredible struggle for all three of us to live off of what I make and what they make from retirement money, you know, pension money. I think just, honestly, my parents just by themselves on their pension money are gonna struggle. Me being here would be a burden too great for them to withstand. Yeah, if I got a job in my field, in my industry, like using my actual degree, I'd be making a significantly more money than I would if I go into this teaching position, but it would leave me basically no time to do anything, so the YouTube would be gone. Unless I got an editor. But even then, I remember from when I used to work full-time, I had zero energy to do anything after I got back from work. I used to get home from work, watch TV, watch like old TV shows that I'd watched a million times before just to like blob out, and then dinner would be ready. And then I'd eat dinner, and then I'd be blobbing out in front of the screen again, and then I'd go to bed. I did almost nothing with my spare time when I was working. Except for weekends. Weekends were like friends' time. That was good. So yeah. I wanted to lay out the fact that at the moment, I'm in a kind of limbo where the options for my life are in freefall, are currently up in the air, and I'm waiting for them to land to decide which direction I can jump, which gap I can leap over to make it in life. And I want you guys to be aware, I want you guys to know about it because it affects you guys as well. Just if you're interested in seeing the channel continue beyond the end of this year or beyond the end of next year, depending on whichever one is a reality. If you guys want to help me, I'm not saying anyone has to. Like, if you don't want to help, you're not obligated to. It's not. I don't want anyone to think that I'm forcing anything upon you because I don't want that. It's not what I want. But if people want to help me, if people are like, Rory, tell me how to help you, like, finding places to share my stuff, it's probably one of the biggest things. Like, I discovered recently that Steam has like a video sharing system as well. You can post, as long as you post your videos on YouTube, you can like link your YouTube videos onto Steam, and they'll pop up in people's activity feeds or in the like community hubs and stuff like that, so there's potential more exposure of the videos. I've heard of people posting videos on Reddit, but I wouldn't know where to begin because I never use Reddit. And I also hate self-promotion, so I don't want to just bombard places with my videos. But if you guys want to send my videos places, that would be an immense help. Sometimes it can feel like, you know, how can you help your one person? Back in the day, I remember hearing stories about some of the YouTubers who are big YouTubers now. They were small until they posted a video. One of their videos got posted on Reddit. They didn't even post it themselves. One of their community members posted their video on Reddit, and it exploded, and suddenly they got like tons and tons of subscribers from it. I'm not saying that, I don't know that would happen for me, because of the kind of YouTuber I am, but even just small amounts of subscribers finding the channel through external links would make a great amount of help for the channel. I am planning to make a bunch of like one-off kind of sillier videos in an attempt to, you know, increase diversity, I guess, on the channel, because at the moment it's very gameplay oriented. It's very like specific games oriented. I haven't done many like personal videos. Like, I haven't done another Cooking with Rorius video yet. The reason for that is that our kitchen is still not finished. We've been waiting on an oven for like 3 months now. They keep telling us that it's going to arrive at a specific date, and then it doesn't arrive at that date, and they're like, oh, it's going to arrive at this date now. So until that happens, it's unlikely I'm going to be doing a Cooking with Rorius video. The current projection is like mid-October, but we'll see. I don't trust that company anymore to get anything to us on time. Other stuff I want to do is like, I want to do more music stuff. I would love to do covers of things, or like my own take on certain songs. I'm working on something with a friend, but that one is a more sort of, I guess, as much as I like to keep things kind of like low budget, that one's slightly more high budget. I want to do some more like lower budget, just like me covering songs, especially video game music, because video game music isn't copyright claimed. I have some other thoughts on videos I want to make as well, but some of them are more just a concept than anything I have set in stone. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. Let me know if you would want to see anything other than gameplay videos on the channel. If you have any other kinds of interests, what would you want to see? I have thought about doing another game development stream week sort of thing, like join another game jam or something, or just make a game in a week, you know. We don't even need to be part of a jam. But being part of a jam creates that sort of community feel, so I wouldn't mind joining another jam and doing that, but that does require a commitment of a week, at least. Because I've never made a game in under a week. But yeah, other than that, other than like game dev, music, like cooking with Rorius, and gameplay, what else would you want to see? What other kind of content would you want to see? I've done some like developer commentary stuff, which is a bit out of left field. It's not really straight up gameplay, but the only thing with developer commentary playthroughs is that it's basically just me sitting there listening to people talk. Like, it's not... Yeah. I struggle to make them entertaining, but I'm sure that they're entertaining all by themselves. So yeah, let me know what you want to see there if you want to see any of that. I'll keep you posted on what life ends up throwing at me, what cards I end up getting to choose from. Yeah. Go share the videos if you want to. It's not an obligation. You guys are not obligated to do anything to help me. But if you want to help, sharing the videos is definitely the biggest thing. Especially on open communities. Like, I know a few people are really freaking awesome and they share my videos on their Discord servers and stuff like that. But Discord servers are a tricky one because they're a closed system. You can't see or access that outside of Discord itself. So unless like, posting a couple of videos on a Discord server is useful, but beyond that, it's not very useful. It's because once you've exposed that content to that group, it's unlikely that continuing to expose that group to that content will make like a significant impact on anyone, you know? And so while I really appreciate it, it's places like Reddit, it's places like, I don't know, Twitter, if you have like a Twitter group or something, places where even Facebook has some amounts of like algorithms to send content to random people. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a boomer. I come from the age of the internet where like Google was just starting. Initially, you had to know, like, you kind of just had to know what websites to go to to find stuff. And Google was a huge game changer and it allowed people to actually search for stuff. But even then, like, social media wasn't like, MySpace was like the only thing that was a thing when I was little. And even then, like, I didn't know how to use MySpace. I was a little kid, you know, on the internet. I knew of places like Newgrounds from friends. I knew about YouTube when it first came out because my brother showed me a video of a fight that had happened at his school, at a school around Auckland here, that that he saw. A friend of his showed him and he showed me, and that's what YouTube was at the time. It was like just anything goes. You won't find videos like that. At least you won't find big videos like that these days, because that content gets flagged and shut down. So I don't know. I'm not good at social media. I'm not good at self-promotion. So if you're better, which you likely are, I would love for you to help me. Beyond that, watching my videos and my streams, that helps greatly. YouTube has all sorts of systems in place to decide what content is good and what content it should share. And one of the things it uses, one of the metrics it uses to determine that is, like, how many subscribers it sends your content to, how many random people it sends your content to, how many of those people watch your video, and how long they watch it. So if you go into a video, watch it for like 10 seconds, and then leave it, that's almost detrimental to me. Because YouTube's like, oh, the person doesn't actually want to watch the video. They've lost interest immediately. This content isn't as good, therefore we should, like, send other content instead. They don't specifically suppress, but they prioritize. And so content can get sort of, like, sunk into the floor if people aren't watching for very long. View numbers aren't really a big deal for YouTube, but, like, it's all about that watch time. So, yeah. I mean, I can't force anyone to be interested, but if you're watching the videos and you're watching right through them, that greatly helps me, because that pushes that average watch time up and makes YouTube think, oh, this guy, people actually want to watch his stuff. Let's share a bunch of his stuff around. Because, like, clearly people want to watch it. It gets the watch time. Yeah. I will mention just one last thing before we close up. The channel goes like this all the time. There's always highs and lows. At the moment, we're in a bit of a low because the views and watch time have dipped. But that happens all the time. It's constantly going up and down. Like, when we were in, like, was it August? The start of August, especially? July. End of July, start of August, around that time. We're at, like, a high. We're at a peak. And September has dipped. But I can see that already it's starting to rise up again just at the end of September here. Don't worry specifically if you see numbers that look depressing or look scary on your end. Don't fret, because half the time YouTube doesn't report the same numbers everywhere. So, like, you'll see it on your end that it has this many views or whatever. On my end, it'll say a different number of views. And in my analytics, I can see the actual trends of stuff. Just because of, like, a latest video, just because one of my more recent videos only has, like, a handful of views, doesn't mean that I'm not getting views and watch time. Because what really matters to YouTube is the overall trends. And thankfully, there's a bunch of videos in my backlog that do still get a bunch of views and watch time. So I'm not in, like, a dire state there. The only reason I'm making this video is that I need, if I want to continue YouTube, I need for the channel to do significantly better. And while I feel like every time I see the numbers and I see, like, the amount of subscribers we've gained, like, we gained like 100 subscribers in the last 3 or 4 months, which is fucking awesome. Like, it used to be that 100 subscribers was like a 6-month or a year thing, depending on what was happening right before or right after. But yeah, in like the space of like 3 months, we've gone up like over 100 subscribers. So, like, that's freaking awesome to me. But life doesn't care about, like, relative success. It wants a change, and it wants it either now or next year, sort of thing. And that's it. So, yeah. I need your guys' help. I mentioned before how, you know, sometimes it's like, well, I'm just one person, how do I help? Just remember that I'm also just one person. The only difference is that I've got you guys here. And so, like, while you think that you're one person, you are part of the community that is the Rorius channel. You make up, like, your support along with everyone else's makes up a large group, makes up a large mob, large community that, when put together, has a lot of power. So yeah. I've rambled for like half an hour now. I should probably script these videos, but I can't bring myself to do that because it doesn't feel genuine when I script it. I used to script my, like, thank you videos whenever we reached certain subscriber milestones, but I felt like after, like, the 3rd or 4th one, I felt like it was too, like, hitting the same beats every time. So now I just ramble. And you get rambly videos instead. And there'll be lots of cuts to make it more tolerable, more consumable. But, yeah. You get the genuine Rory. You get the genuine me in these videos. And I hope that we can continue this for a long time. Because I would like that. Ultimately, if I was able to... I mentioned, like... Sorry, I keep continuing. I mentioned the idea of, like, maybe if I'm doing the learning to become a teacher thing and streaming, that at the end of that year, if the streaming every day thing was really successful and suddenly the channel exploded and grew, I would just drop the teacher thing. Because if after a year of learning to become a teacher and I become a qualified teacher, but I also become a big YouTuber, I'm gonna be going with YouTube because that's definitely my passion. But yeah. Enough rambling. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was enlightening or valuable to you hearing from me about things. And I hope to be able to continue to provide, like, endless gaming and other videos on YouTube. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you up ahead.